Welcome back, everyone, for yet another interesting session on SQL Programming series. So, you very well know that we are connecting to the database design series and our SQL Programming video series through a case study called Online Tutoring System. And in today's video, we are going to talk about how to create tables, how to insert records into the tables, and how to do basic DML queries on it. In my last video, we were discussing about how to create a table and how to insert records into it and their syntax. So today we are going to talk about how to take it forward with our online tutoring system case study. So the first thing is like I just dropped all my tables so that I can show it to you from the beginning. So first we have created all the necessary tables. In the last class itself, I showed you how to create primary keys, unique key, not null keys, and all that. So now we have our session table, and in the session table, so we have the primary key in an inline syntax, and in an out of line syntax we have the foreign key declared. So constraint name, which is optional, foreign key is the keyword in parenthesis. Which column of this table is going to be the foreign key? It's the tutor ID. So this is a foreign key of which tables, which primary key. So there you mentioned references. The table name which my tutor ID depends on is the OTS tutor, and the column name is the tutor ID. So like this, I have created all the tables. I've basically created the syntax for all the tables. Let us go ahead and execute them one after the other. So first of all, we have our OTS student table. I just dropped the table that we created already so that I can show it to you as a complete case study. So okay, it is throwing us an error saying that the OTS tutor doesn't exist. So when you are creating a foreign key table, just make sure that you create the primary key tables first and then the foreign key tables. So since your table depends upon the tutor ID of OTS tutor, and since OTS tutor table doesn't exist, it's throwing us an error and not letting us create the session table. So let us first go ahead and create the OTS tutor table. It's created. Now let's go and create the OTS session table. See, now it is created. The next thing is the payment table. And then we already created the tutor table. The next thing is the enrollment table. And then the areas of expertise. So now that we have created all the tables, the next step is to insert records into the table. I've written insert statements which insert at least two records into each table. I explained the syntax of how to create insert statements in the last video. I believe you would have watched that. So let us run all the insert statements so that our records are getting inserted. Okay. Let us execute it. Since this is not a script, since it's an SQL command, we should make sure that we run one query at a time. If it is written as an SQL script, then yes, you can execute the whole file in one go, like how we did in our earlier videos. Okay, so here I just prefer to keep it as an SQL command window, and that's why I am running one statement at a time. Okay, so now all our records are successfully inserted. How do we test it? We can write a select query which prints everything from our table. So I have returned the 6 separate select statements, one for each of our query. Okay, so now we could see that all the tables have records. Now I have taken 5 DML queries to demonstrate how we can use the tables we created, the records we inserted in order to query the database using the DML statements, which is data manipulation statements. Okay, fine. So the very first query is retrieve all sessions conducted by a specific tutor. So when they say a specific tutor, let us try to retrieve information of sessions conducted by the tutor John Doe, if I'm right. Let's quickly run the tutor tables data. Yes, we have John Doe, right? So now let us see how to retrieve sessions conducted by John Doe. So to do that, so let us do select. Let me take up specific columns like session ID, start date, end date, and duration. From which table? From OTS underscore session. Join which table? OTS underscore? Yes, it's the tutor table. Based on what condition? Remember the alias names I was talking about? Let me keep session as yes and tutor as T on yes dot tutor ID is equal to t dot tutor ID. So this will join all the records based on matching tutor IDs. But from that, like say for example, if I run this, let me also put tutor ID, first name, last name. So if I run this query, what I will get is join of all the records. And why are we getting this error, column ambiguously defined? That is because see that the tutor ID is highlighted. The tutor ID column is available in both the tables. So the runtime engine might not know which one to retrieve. Is it the tutor's tutor ID or session's tutor ID? So for that reason, you have to use which one you want. If the column names are existing in only one of your tables, then the alias name is optional. Only for the ambiguous columns, the alias name is mandatory. So now if you see, I've joined the records and we know what is the session that's conducted by John Doe and also Emma Brown. But we are looking for sessions conducted by a specific tutor. So I wanted to retrieve only the sessions conducted by John Doe. So what I do is where first underscore name equal to, and remember, the data in Oracle is case sensitive. So you have to use the same case that is used in the data. So, and last name is equal to do. So now let us run it. It's going to give us only the tutor John Doe session information. I believe this query is clear to you. And remember, alias name dot column name is mandatory for ambiguous columns and optional for other columns. But still, it's always a good practice to use alias names on all the columns for better readability. Okay, so now coming on to the next query, retrieve the list of sessions along with the tutors conducting them. So this is pretty similar to what we discussed. So let us change the question. Let us say get the enrollment history for a specific student. Okay, so now let us see how to do it. So if you do not want to select specific columns, you can just do a select star from OTS underscore enrollment. Let me give an alias name, join OTS underscore session on. So here the common column or the primary key foreign key relationship exists between the session ID of enrollment and session ID of your session. Okay, but here we wanted to retrieve it for a specific student, and the only student ID is existing in the enrollment table, but I need to select records of a specific student by the student's email. So for that reason, I'm going to have a combination of join and subquery here. So here, let me say select student ID from OTS underscore student where email is equal to, again, let's remember the case. So alice.johnson at example.com. Okay, so now let us try running it. Since we did a select star, it will give us information from student as well as all the information from the session. So this gives us information about the enrollment history of the student ID 1, who is none other than this particular student. Okay, fine. So now moving on to this one, get all enrollment details. Oh my God, I didn't realize that we had a similar question and I gave that question here. So let us take this off. Okay, probably this is redundant. So let us move on to the next query. Okay, update the fee for a specific session ID. So till now, we have been discussing only about the select queries, but when it comes to DML, we also have update and delete queries. So how do you update the fee for specific session ID? Okay, so let us probably go and look at the OTS session table. So here the fees is 500 for Java programming and 600 for Python for beginners. Okay, so let us do one thing. For Java programming, let us increase the fee to be $700. Okay, let us see how to do that. Update. Let me turn on my caps lock. So update OTS underscore session set fee equal to 700 where description, since there is just one Java programming, let me use the like command here to demonstrate the usage of like. So I'll say like Java percentage. So when you have a percentage, it means 0 or more characters. So we will look for the description in the table which starts with the word Java. We just have one of it. So we are updating its fee to 700. Let's see if it reflects. Let me run the command. The row got updated. So let us go back and let us run the OTS underscore session select query. And do you all see here? The fee is updated to $700. Okay. Now, the next thing is your delete command. So delete is used to delete records from the table. So say for example, if I say delete from OTS underscore tutor, then all the records from the tutor table will be deleted if there is no dependency on it, if there is no foreign key depending on its primary key. Okay, so now if I wanted to do it, so instead of deleting all the records, let us try to see select records of tutors who, sorry, delete records of tutors who do not have any sessions assigned. So how do we know that? We don't know, right? So let us do where tutor ID equal, I have to where tutor ID not in select distinct tutor ID from OTS underscore session. Okay, so first of all, let us see which all tutors have a session. So we have both the tutors. So if we try to delete, let's see what happens. It says 0 rows deleted because we have two tutors in our table and both the tutors have sessions. So what I am going to do first is let me try to delete the session 2, or instead we can go ahead and create a new tutor. Okay, so that could be the easiest possible solution. So let us create a new tutor. So let me see 3 Sam Doe. I'm just randomly creating a record. Okay. So now let us insert this record. So now let us see when you run the distinct tutor IDs, it will just show 1 and 2. But if you look at the tutor table, there will be 3 tutors now, including the new tutor. But this new tutor is not going to have any sessions. So when you do this, it will give you 1 comma 2. Now you will delete from OTS tutor where tutor ID not in 1 comma 2. So obviously it will be 3. So now if you run this command, it will say 1 row deleted. See? Now let us go ahead and let us try to run the tutor. We will see only the first 2 tutors. Sam Doe is deleted because Sam Doe doesn't have any active sessions. Okay, so like this, you can use joins, subqueries, group by, order by, many other feasible clauses, and you could do more efficient DML queries. So when a case study is given to you, create all the tables, insert at least 2 to 3 records into the tables, and then play around with the DML queries just like how I did. And if you're given an assignment on that, Just put your query along with the output in the same window for each query separately so that it'll be easy to evaluate it. Okay, so go ahead, all of you, try doing your case study, and I believe this session would have been useful to you. I'll meet you again in yet another interesting session. Until then, stay tuned. See you soon. Bye bye.